AFIDA.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is indeed a great honor to be with you today at this most important activity, which is the Africa Food Systems Forum Dakar 2025, and to this special event, which is advancing the momentum of the African Fertilizer and Soil Health Action Plan. The African Union Commission is delighted to organize this special event in collaboration with OITNEPAT, FARA, AGRA, and AFSH coalitions. Last year in Nairobi, Kenya, our heads of state and government endorsed the Declaration on Africa Fertilizer and Soil Health along with its 10-year action plan. They then tasked the African Union Commission through its able body, the OITNEPAT, to develop strategic partnerships and institutional arrangements which are necessary for its implementation. I'm happy that to report that OITNEPAT has not been sleeping. They've been running. Let's put our hands together for them. Since that historic summit, we have witnessed commendable efforts from various organizations who have been working tirelessly to develop the implementation modalities. I would like to take this opportunity to sincerely thank all of you for your dedication in moving this important agenda forward and sustaining the momentum. To date, 5 coalitions have been established and launched. One, there's been the coalition of implementers for fertilizer and soil health, commonly termed CIFSH. Secondly, the Coalition on Policy and Advocacy, C4PA. Thirdly, the Coalition on Soil Information Systems. Fourthly, the Coalition on Last Mile Advisory Services, and the Coalition of Private Sector and Fertilizer Businesses.
The success of Africa's ambitious plans to restore the health of our soils depends on the support of the many partners who are here today. The African Union Development Agency, your agency, remains unwavering to facilitating and coordinating the work of our partners as they support member states in domestication of this important continental agenda. Let me highlight that the new Kampala strategy is the overarching continental framework for the food sector within which all these efforts should be embedded to avoid fragmentation. This holistic approach is what we have clearly communicated with member states as we prepare to roll out the domestication of Kadek Kampala in 2026. I urge you to insist on this integrated, holistic approach by supporting member states to reflect the priorities of the Nairobi Declaration as they formulate their national agri-food system investment plans. Excellencies, I want to end by acknowledging the support of our development partners who consistently support our programs, including our work on domesticating the Nairobi Declaration. Some of them are represented here. Without your support, most of our programs would not have been possible. We look forward to strengthening these partnerships that have been the basis for our success. As we walk this journey, we are motivated by the urgent need to lift our people out of food insecurity and poverty. This remains the single most challenging of our generation. Working together, we will overcome these challenges.
This is by Africans, for Africa, for our continent. We believe strongly that we can take the bull by the horn as entities that are operating in this space. Our continent needs to start owning our development, and the private sector is now stepping forward to work together with you and other development partners on the continent to make this happen. We welcome all of our friends from far and near, but the journey has begun. And we're very excited that you have joined us today to want to declare this open. I'll now hand over to the chair of the board of the association, the CEO of OCP Africa, to give us her quick welcoming remarks. By the way, this is a very important event. I say this because this is essentially the very first official engagement of the CEO of OCP Africa once assuming this role. So you will imagine that naturally when you take up a responsibility, you want to go to your office and spend some time before going out. She said, this is so important to me and important to the continent. This is the place to resume. And so I really want to celebrate her. Thank you so much, Madam Alafifi.
Allow me to add that what makes this moment so very powerful is that it's an entire ecosystem that is present here today, and this is quite rare and unique. This dialogue here is existing to connect, and let me be precise, science, policy, investment, innovation, so that Africa's soil restoration and fertilizer strategies do not remain words on paper, please mark my word, but becomes fields in bloom, harvests that feed our families, and create livelihood that sustain hope. I know a little bit about agriculture. It's not only about input and outputs. It's about the millions of women, of young people, smallholder farmers that are really forming the backbone of an entire ecosystem of foods. Their realities, their daily life must guide our actions. And if this action plan is to succeed, it must be inclusive. And it must create opportunities for everyone. This association we now have the privilege to lead is designed to be a bridge between governments, private sector, between Pan-Africa strategy and local implementation, between ambition and tangible results. Together, we are fully committed.
We are likely going to miss our target. And also, we really want to support the adaptation and integration of the action plan at the national level, because all the action has to take place at the national level. I know I've maybe 30 seconds.
Yeah.
If I can.
So exactly what are you doing with it?
Yeah. So what we are doing basically, we are looking at the low-hanging fruits.
In what country?
So we have Senegal. Here we were planning to launch the farm and oil soil here, but we thought maybe after the summit we can launch the farm and oil soil.
They are in the room today, and I really would like to thank the private sector for being here. Now, under the coalition of private sector and business engagement, Sustain Africa, where I'm executive director, is the secretariat, and we are at IFDC. So IFDC, and I see my president there, IFDC is the host under Sustain Africa of the private sector coalition. We have AFAP, who are also in the room. We have AFDB, AFFM. In fact, AFFM is the only institution mentioned in the declaration, and that's about full operationalization of the AFFM, expanding the portfolio, and setting up a soil health fund. Then we have Trademark Africa, in terms of trade and leveraging the AFCFTA on trade matters. We have AFIDA, we have the global private sector.
Discussion in the morning, I got to learn that I actually did 40 hours right from my farm to Dakar with a lot of appetite from this Africa Food System Summit, but my appetite is really slowing down. Reason being, it's today that I got to learn that our Africa food import bill is now at 70 billion. So we all equally share the shame that some farmer out there, outside our continent, is taking 20 billion, which is supposed to be an income of our own African farmers. So when you read the IISD report of 2024, which is very recent, it puts the state of African soils at high levels of acidity and low levels of organic carbon. Those are the two main challenges of our African soils.
You can address all the challenges that you have, but you're part of the solution. That's also for us. All around the table here, we are part of the solution. We don't have to wait for money. We have to act now with the money we have. The Pan-African Fertilizer Association, Fertilizer Industry Development Association, as it's officially called, was an initiative which started 2 years ago. But it didn't materialize if we would not pool resources which were available from partners to make it happen and to have the signing and the launch today. The same with the Africa Center for Fertilizer Development. And Shami, our moderator, is one of the main drivers, together with the coalition, to really make it happen. But it's not the coalition who is the driver, it's the government of Zimbabwe and the minister himself, who is convinced that the center could be the backbone of mineral and organic fertilizer recommendations for the continent.
Move beyond our projects, move beyond our own interests, but really look at what is needed.
We have learned through this program and reflect on opportunities for inclusion based on what we have done in the region, but also linking it up with this year's theme around youth and women.
We are here today to share how we are turning these targets into tangible actions and engage more all of you into this initiative.
We are here today to discuss action on the ground. And looking at CADAP, looking at the Africa Fertilizer Soil Health Summit, soil value is in the core of domestication of the work and the ambitions we approved, or the heads of states approved, in Kampala, in Nairobi, in the UN, or in Rio. It's all about addressing climate adaptation. It's all about addressing biodiversity. It's about fighting desertification, but most of all, it's about accelerating food production.
Africa must use fertilizers. I want to be quoted on that. Africa must use fertilizers. Let's not pretend. Let's not sit here and pretend that, oh, we will live on organic. Africa needs organic to reconstitute its soils, we must reconstitute these soils. But you see, we are what we eat. You have iron in your body. Where do you get it from? From the soil. You have whatever nutrients you have in your body, potassium, whatever. Where do you get them from? From the soil. So we must ensure that these nutrients are available to people.
In that regard, it's also good to see the collaboration with other programs in Mali, Burkina, Niger and Nigeria taking shape, among which the World Bank's Food System Resilience Program and the Dutch-funded Pro-Arides. Moreover, the constructive collaboration and with regional organizations is vital for this program. It's a real pleasure to be here this morning to share this with all of you and to have the discussion later on. And I look really forward to that. Thank you so much.
I just want to emphasize 3 key words that work here for us: cooperation, collaboration, convergence, and coordination. And recently, the real coalition that we are seeing coming from FARA, from AGRA, from IFDC, APNIN, etc., RITA, lead us to establish the West African Fertilizer Hub in Ibadan to support us in our agenda for the implementation. So I just want to emphasize those one and say, let us keep the momentum in our discussion. And I believe that even though you are leaving Agra, you will still be our president, our leader for the next future.
Healthy soils are not just about plants, but it's about empowering African farmers, our farmers, to lead innovations that transform the entire agri-food system. As you all know, African soils, especially from the area I come from, are highly weathered. So we require the right interventions to transform traditional knowledge into something that is sustainable and is impact-driven at scale.
And that movement, has to be managed. And that can be managed if we really link farms with landscapes, with basins, with watersheds. And the best way to link that is really linking soil health with commodities, with value chains, making sure that, soil by itself is not really attractive for farmers. How do we make sure that, whatever we do in soil health is also benefiting the farmers in terms of income, yield, and that linkage is probably the most important.
This is one of the reasons that Africa Fertilizer Financing Mechanism, we work to support having access to finance, and we do that by using partial trade credit guarantees. And I believe these are the major instrument that can help those Mohora farmers, especially women and youth, to access to finance, because those guarantees definitely come to address the issue of the collateral that we know those specific farmers don't have access to. So the partial credit guarantees are the key elements or instruments that we promote at AFFM 1 and at AFFM 2 as well.
My boss, I cannot put you on the spot, but you've got to answer this important question. CORAF has been there more than 20 years with decades of experience in regional research. How can we translate research into action for farmers, especially the young ones? Recent research done by Sasakawa, Africa, showed that 35% of the farmers on the field now are youths. And we should applaud ourselves for all the pressures we push to get these young people into the field. But how do we, translate soil management knowledge into their hands so that they will not continue to destroy the soil?
Thank you very much, colleagues, and good morning to all of you. It is indeed a pleasure to be here, and thank you for the invitation. I don't want to waste my time on the protocols. I would go straight to respond to the question. But I really appreciate all our partners and here in the room. I want to, first of all, maybe let us understand very well the narrative you are making here. The narrative you are making here, I'm not, I disagree with you.
Okay.
And I will explain why. Through the decades, what we are trying to do is to connect farmers' organizations to research institutions, to universities, and to the market. And that's what we call the national agricultural research systems.
Nice.
So right in the countries, that we try to do. And at the regional level, we're doing the same with regional organizations, farmers' organizations, ROPA, and PROPAC for Central Africa, for example, together with research institutions, with universities, we try to work together and connect very well. So the development of the innovations and the solutions you are referring to, they are not done solely only in research institutions and then trying now to put them to use to the farmers. This narrative, we have changed it in the African research institutions right now, from FARA to all the sub-regional organizations. We have changed this narrative. We work with farmers at the center of the innovation process. That's one.
We are here to work with ECOWAS, with World Bank programs, with regional hubs that emanate from Nairobi and Lomé declarations, with all other NARS and farmers and youth organizations that want to do something about soil fertility management, come to us. We'll be here for the coming 8.5 years. We are a catalyzing program. We invite you. We are not here to reinvent wheels. We are here to listen and to scale technologies that are best practices through the eyes of the communities.
But I just ride on where President Kalibata stopped, right? The fact that fertilizers are needed. But what I will say is, how do we fix the problem of organic and inorganic working together to become more sustainable on the ground? First point, we need the development and research friends who have, to some extent, created a bit of a tension between the organic and inorganic actors on the ground today to help undo that damage by sending the right message. What we need is not organic and no inorganic. It's not inorganic and no organic. It's a combination of both. So many of the scientists that have promoted organic to the extent where now there is a wrong conversation on the ground as though all you need is do away with any inorganic and focus on organic alone, they've created a problem. So they need to join the bandwagon of the communicators to undo the damage that they have done. That's my first point. Secondly, as you have found out on the association platform, what we're doing is that now we're bringing together both organic and inorganic actors. AFIDA is made up of both organic and inorganic actors. WAFA have the same conversation, proposition. So that's it. Third, we are promoting the production and distribution of what we call organomineral fertilizers. Many of our members are now producing products that don't just contain mineral content, they have organic content. So that you have a balance of the products as well as the capacity of the product to improve soil, soil physical properties, while it's providing nutrients at the moment. I can go on, right? But I mean, we are in there to make this happen at scale.
I'm Øystein Botillen from Yara International. I'm also the chair of the task force established by the International Fertilizer Association. And in that context, we have, for quite some time now, discussed the need of exactly what this association is all about, to consolidate a relatively fragmented community of industry players into one overall platform that could be the engagement platform for governments, for international development partners and others going forward. So it's quite a lot of excitement. There is work ahead of us, but this is perceived by many now to be a rather unique opportunity to get clarity on what is the concerns of private sector, and also private sector in the context of the Nairobi Declaration, the CADEP Declaration, consolidation going on at the country level. And I think, honestly speaking, that if you do this right, this could be a most impactful association going forward.
We're extremely happy and thrilled as the IFTC for having supported the AFIDA Association to set up and launch in this auspicious occasion of the Africa Food Systems Forum here in Dakar. Indeed, it is great news for the private sector industry to rally together, speak with one voice, and develop the fertilizer industry in Africa.
So it's a very valuable association, and it was very, very good to see the support from all players. The support from AU, from AUDA, NEPAD. It was really great to see that support and affirmation that this is the right way to go.
Nous sommes aussi partie prenante dans le cadre de ce lancement de la nouvelle association appelée AFIDA, qui est une association continentale pour contribuer justement à la mise en œuvre de ce plan d'action du continent, de l'Union africaine. Parce que ce plan d'action prévoit effectivement que tous les groupes d'acteurs y contribuent. La santé des sols est un domaine très vaste, il y a la place pour tout le monde et nous devons venir ensemble pour que vraiment on puisse travailler sur ce domaine. Et le plan d'action prévoit que le secteur privé puisse y contribuer.
Notre entreprise CEDAP SARL, on produit des engrais au Sénégal. Nous sommes une entreprise créée depuis 1985. Nous sommes très heureux de la mise en place de cette association AFIDA. Peut-être qu'avec cette association, le continent africain verrait la production un peu plus importante d'engrais, que ces engrais arrivent aux producteurs à des coûts compétitifs et que vraiment le producteur africain se retrouve dans la mise en place de cette association. Donc nous sommes confiants, on pense que l'avenir est là.
Thank you. I'm really excited about today. Today, the 1st of September 2025, we have officially launched the Africa Fertilizer Industry Development Association. Very excited. I am grateful first to God who has made today possible that we are alive to see this historic moment. And I'm grateful to all of the partners and private sector actors who believed in this vision and have worked together with us over the last 1 year to mobilize, to do all that is required, that today we are able to successfully launch. It's possible to do great things when we work together, much, much greater things than any one of us can do as individuals. So this is why a Pan-African Fertilizer Industry Association is so critical to being able to drive growth and development and achieving the goals that were set in Nairobi, May 2024, for Africa's fertilizer and soil health sector. In Nairobi, we agreed that we want to triple fertilizer production in Africa. We will double fertilizer distribution in Africa. We will get information about crop and soil specific recommendation to 70% of our smallholder farmers across Africa. That work requires a lot of effort from the private sector side, but doing it as individual private sector members will be difficult. This is why we decided to create an association that brings us together so we can work and synergize amongst ourselves to contribute to this cause. With the launch of AFIDA today, the private sector is ready to engage to become the strategic partner of policy makers, of African Union, Commission, and all of the other entities related to that, to be able to deliver the glorious objectives that are contained in the 10 years fertilizer and soil health action plan. Really, really, I am excited. I cannot thank everyone who has made time to come to this ceremony enough. I cannot thank enough the Commissioner, His Excellency, Mr. Moses Vilakati, who is the Commissioner of the African Union Commission responsible for agriculture. His presence throughout the launch added a lot of color to this. And I want to thank all of the members of the association, the members of the board, beginning from the chair, who is the CEO of OCP Africa, and all of the members of the board. We are here now. We have made history. History is made today. Today is the beginning of a new generation, a new wave, a new face of Africa's fertilizer industry. Now we have a body, a platform, an association that will represent all of us and will speak to these institutions, will be able to make us speak with the same voice, make us invest together, work together to drive the growth of the African fertilizer space. More importantly, it's exciting to say that this is a homegrown association. This is African companies developing an association by themselves and planning to work together to take our destinies in our hands and develop the Africa soil, health, and fertilizer space. Africa will feed itself very soon. I can guarantee you that. The days are over when Africa was waiting for the rest of the world to feed her or to find products for her. Now we are taking the destiny in our hands. We welcome all of our friends from all over the world, friends of Africa who want to join this progress. You are more than welcome. But we're not waiting anymore for anyone to decide for Africa what Africa should do. Africans are taking our responsibility in our hands. We're going to drive our progress. We welcome all of our friends to come with us. This is the beginning of the new era that we've been waiting for. I'm so excited. So now we have launched. We move to the phase of planning and doing the work. In 10 years' time, when we look at how the 10 years action plan is being implemented, we'll be able to see how much progress we have made. I can promise you that we are likely to surpass all the objectives that were set in Nairobi in 2024. Thank you everyone for being a part of this launch. I look forward to seeing you as we continue to engage on this journey.